They're picking the Bane, so there's that BKB piercing disable, so I like that. So it means now, in my opinion, that Boom still need to keep going for something that's going to be able to get onto the backlines that's a little bit speedy, because Bane, there's still a little bit of a cast point with some of his abilities. The Ember Spirit is probably the one with
10
the least,
seconds
even though
remaining.
he got it increased a little bit in recent times. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them
5
go something like
seconds
a Storm
remaining.
Spirit, something that's able to get out of the cogs, that's still able to get it onto the backlines. There's no one really that has a save right now, so maybe it's like an Orchid Storm would be a great game for Yopaj to play.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen a lot of drafts so far where there's been emphasis on having a spirit hero, or at least a gap close to jump the backline. And those team fights had looked, there's a clear way to actually take that fight. It looks very easy and you're able to, set up your fight however you want to. But when you don't have some backline jump, we've seen how supports have taken over. We've seen the likes of a Lion, the Rubik, the IU in some games as well, where people haven't been able to identify that issue.
Silencer.
So Silencer, another thing, we saw that Silencer versus the Dawnbreaker game. That was a big reason why they could take it. And I really feel like right now, even though I think a lot of people after the last patch were in the position where they thought Spirit Heroes were nerfed to a decent regard, but they still feel like they provide so much to a draft. So I like what you're saying in regards to what the Pango can bring. Yes, it's going to be minimized just a little bit with the Bane, but they go for another Spirit Hero. It's a Yopaj staple. Might be followed with the Storm instantly. They actually go a little bit more of a different route. It's one of Mac's favorite heroes as well in the Conquer. I mean, he loves the spirits, but it feels like every Southeast Asian mid laner can play this Conquer at a high level.
Yeah, for sure. I think the thing is, obviously, the Void Spirit's able to get it onto the back lines. Maybe just compared to the Storm Spirit, it provides a bit more protection in the lane. Because if a Clockwork looks to rotate, hell, even a Bane, Storm Spirit is kind of left on his own and he's very squishy. So Void Spirit, at least he'll have the dissimulate. He'll be able to get out of a cogs or anything like that. And of course, against a Kunkka, you're constantly wanting to go for ganks. You want to out trade just being a strength hero. Good right click damage coming through from the Kunkka. So I don't hate this Void Spirit pick either. I think what it means though is that in these first couple of fights, you do need to be playing around the Pangolier a lot more than you might normally. So I feel like Void Spirit is going to need to rotate to, we're assuming, FBZ's lane, unless he plays the Enchantress or something like that crazy. We've seen CTM play the Pos 3 Enchantress in the past, so wouldn't put it past him to think that Boom could do something like that. But when you've got FBZ on one of his heroes like the Pango, I think you'd be crazy not to just let him play the comfort.
All right, well, it looks like both teams at the moment looking for their position one. We got Boom coming up with the 23rd pick. Is there anything you have to consider about drafting here? Are they lacking maybe a tower push, wave clear, a hero to start fights, a win condition? What are we looking for CTM's hero?
I think it's much more dire on Boom for needing a tower pusher. I was about to say a Medusa, but then I'm like, well, they're actually into a Mars, so it's not actually that great. And any kind of single core lineup is terrible against a Bane. So I think maybe they might even consider going for some sort of illusion hero, although they ban out the PL themselves. Like, Enfeeble on a single core lineup is incredibly strong. Like, even just the 1 point into it. They go for a Terrorblade, it's at least still that illusion hero. But so the illusions are going to be able to do the majority of the damage, and it's not like they have a Lion to be able to instantly get rid of them. But yeah, that Enfeeble on the main TB target, even just 1 point into it, prior to him picking up BKB, is going to be incredibly effective.
I think this hero from Polaris needs to be very aware that Boom are going to get aggressive early and take towers. As soon as probably level 6, level 7, you need the Pango to make plays with Rolling Thunder, but Terrorblade can always farm aggressively and then link up with Metamorphosis to take objectives. And if Polaris have a very slow-paced position, one that can't get involved, we could see Dire lose a lot of their map control early.
I think TB would still need to play around the Pangolier at least super early, so if you leave him on his own to try and push, if you're making Void Spirit rotate to the Pangolier lane, I think TB is in risk of dying. So Drow Ranger coming out. I am never a fan of the Drow Ranger unless it's the perfect Drow Ranger game. And in my eyes, you've got a Pangolier and you've got a Void Spirit that are able to get it onto you.
I think it is the perfect Drow game, to be honest. This is a 5...
Against the TB, all that minus armor.
Yep. I mean, it's great versus Terrorblade because the high base armor and your marksmanship just pierces through that. You're a hero that doesn't have a cooldown, so you can kind of be online whenever you want, which is a big factor. They needed tower siege. I highlighted that Boom are going to take towers early, and if you're someone who's pretty slow and can't get involved at the early stages of the game, then I'd be worried for Polaris. But now they have a hero that's kind of protected. You got 3 melee heroes. 2 of them are going to start fights. Conquer, not the greatest, but can kind of fulfill that role through the early stages in the game. The question is I feel like CML has to have a huge importance to deal with FBZ, and then you need someone else to deal with Yopaj, whether that's Nico having a really good lane, picking up a blink and maybe catching them off guard a couple of times, but this can go back and forth here, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be completely on CML to be able to lock down FPZ. If he's able to get a good Nightmare off in a team fight as well, great. But yeah, it's going to be Mac, Nico, and Boomy that are going to try to lock down Yopaj in a few of these fights. Hell, even CML, like I said, just the 1 point into the Enfeeble around any kind of push on the Terrorblade is going to be really good. I agree with you. In a vacuum, Drow versus Terrorblade, Drow is better, right? But I just feel like they've got the Pangolier, they've got the Void Spirit, they've got the ways to make sure that marksmanship just isn't a factor. That's my big reason with not liking this. You know, I feel like Drow shines kind of similar to a Tinker when there's absolutely no way for them to get it onto the back line, and in my eyes, Boom have 2. So with that, I'm still gonna go with the Boom lineup for this one.
Prepare.
I'll go Polaris. I feel like I have ways to protect the Drow as the game goes on. I think we can really see Radiant be a little bit more impacted by their cooldowns in regards to metamorphoses, and I think they could have trouble with actually starting fights. Like if Pango doesn't have too good of a game. Oh, we got some question marks going on right now.
Well, let me ask you this as well, because it looks like they might be changing it up a little bit. When I initially saw who was playing what hero, you see Natsumi Drow, and then you see CML Bane. You're like, great, but do you really want that to be the lane? You could see Boomy, he's up here on the top side of the map. He's placing down these wards super early into the piece. So I'm assuming that Boomy, even though he's playing that position 4 role, is going to be playing alongside the Drow. So I'm a little bit more at ease now.
Love that. Yeah, I think I always bring up, I think you have to pair right now in Dota a range with a melee. I think you get maximum out of that. There are very few situational lanes where you can go double melee, double range. It's very, very dependent on the other team's hero and your style overall. I just feel so much more comfortable when you have a range and a melee together, especially when you have a range carry. I think you have to play that with a melee. So, and also it's a Clockwork in the safe lane. This is a hero that has just a little bit more room to wiggle with in regards to battery assault and being able to chase heroes down. Do you feel like there could be, is it really just off the back of wanting the Clockwork to protect the Drow, or could it be, maybe Clock's better against the Enchantress, or, maybe you want the Bane to go up against the Lion in the lane?
It's just about protecting the Drow in my eyes, and also super early on, you've got this Pangolier, right? And FBZ, he's probably not going to put himself into a really risky position, but maybe level 1, if you're able to get quick level 2 as well, maybe Polaris looks to push the lane out a little bit faster just to get that quick level 2. If you are off target with the Swashbuckle, you get caught in the cogs with a battery assault, you can very quickly die. I mean, the thing is with the Pangolier, though, now with the shield crash, jumping a little bit forward, it makes it a little bit more challenging.
I think either team have really strong safe lanes where they can get kills. You got a Terrorblade with someone who has a stun, which is super, super important when you've got Metamorphosis, and if you have creep lane equilibrium, then you can use that extra damage to find potential kills. And I think the same top, like you said, if FBZ gets too aggressive with some of his spell casting, then Polaris can instantly flip the switch and kind of turn that back on him.
Well, we'll see. The luck continues. Let's not call it luck. Let's call it the good gameplay continues with Beng here playing for Boom. Obviously only having the 1 loss there against Nigma Galaxy, which was really needed. Let's just say that as well. Nigma Galaxy were on a little bit of a loss streak there.
We get to see them later today versus Motivate, so that's going to be important if they can keep maybe a little bit of that momentum going from that map victory, but we're already seeing top. Yeah, just a lot of harassment. They're using kind of the early weaknesses, but also Tim's going for a super early point in Nature's Attendance to be able to battle it out.
Yeah, they just want to be able to survive against this early harass coming through. You know, of course, Enchantra's great at being able to bully people out, but probably not going to be super effective early on when you're getting out-damaged by the enemy lineup.
Let's see how they play this dive now, because this is a double creep wave, and Natsumi, it might be in trouble.
Right, FPZ is able to get the double shield crash off, so he's able to stand a little bit more aggressively forward, but they're just trying to deny as many of these creeps as they can. Don't know if they're going to be successful. It's going to be Clockwork actually picking up those two.
Yeah. I really thought Radiant might try and double deny a lot of the wave there, but Boomy did a good job with how he was posturing, and he's going to try and swing on over just as the creeps start to die into the tower.
Yeah, I was about to say, maybe they might have actually gone for it because they hit that timing I was talking about, that level 2 slightly earlier. Instead, he opts to keep the wave push back underneath the tower. It's one of the downsides of not having blocked up this small camp is that Boomy is going to be able to take this one away. Although now, Tims has reached level 2. He made sure to kill the Harpy Stormcrafter as well first, making sure that he had no way of being able to take that one away from him. So good heads-up play there from Boomy.
Oh, mid lane, Mac at the moment, sitting a little bit behind in regards to last hits. You know, we saw the Void Spirit picked up in the second phase, and that could have been answered by something like a Storm Spirit. Why do you feel like Polaris have put a little bit more emphasis on going for the Conquer this game?
I think it's just preferable in terms of like your last potential. You've got really good regen as well. The Bracer build is going to favor him a little bit more just to try and bully Yopaj out of the lane because they know
bottom lane. Oh, they got it, a bang. First spot picked up. CML, Nico, looks like the level 2's just coming handy there. Let's find out early kill.
But who's caught out who?
What a Cogs! Okay, Fizzy still has that swashbuckle to play with, but a lot of harassment forced out. Natsumi doesn't have too much regen, but the helper Boomy, of course, just supports winning the lanes as always.
I love Clockwork so much, man. I'm sad that all these new heroes are just so able to get out of his cogs, but I feel like the rest of his toolkit is really good still. You know, even just the Rocket Flare for a good ability to do a lot of damage in team fights. It's slept on quite a lot. You know, 200 damage on a relatively short cooldown global. It also means that you can combat any kind of like split or ghost push strategies just by launching your rocket to the other side of the map and, you know, fixing the lanes a little bit.
I think any support that's able to provide vision as well will always have some value in a Dota game. Like, that's something that you always try and put as much emphasis on, but it kind of goes, you know, undervalued because you can't really, you know, put a score tally on what the vision can provide you. But I think that's something that Clockwork really will help utilize. And that's something that will be important versus Drought because you are super reliant on your positioning.
You are, for sure. I mean, I think at least until the entire map changes or doesn't change again, heroes like Clockwork and Ancient Apparition and Disruptor are still always going to be good just because of what you're talking about, right? Where the warding game kind of is somewhat figured out, you know, the most common spots. So if you're able to have any kind of hero that provides that high ground vision where you're able to put a sentry ward down on the low ground and get greater coverage, it's always going to be more advantageous to have that kind of hero.
Tranquilly.
Oh. Mac and Yopaj still just battling it out at the moment. And we got these level 6s coming up pretty shortly. We're going to have, you know, 5-minute mark as well. Do we anticipate these two to make any rotations, or is it actually going to be the supports coming mid?
I mean, I think supports coming mid isn't really going to impact much of anything, right? Like, Conquer is very tanky. Void Spirit, he's got a couple of points in Dissimulate, wanting to keep the wave shoved in and prevent any kind of super deep dives if he was playing on the other side. So I feel like Yopaj, he's almost hit his level 6 as well, so he's not going to be too vulnerable of anyone coming in and trying to harass him. It's right now just like the trading battle. Max winning very slightly, but, you know, it's nothing too dire for Yopaj.
So funny to watch there. They both just had their own little dance mid where we saw, actually hold that, Natsumi top. Tims, he's been able to find his first real big creep of the game, and that will net them an early kill on Natsumi's Drow Ranger. A nice little sweep around while the Drow was vulnerable, considering Boomy was starting to get that creepy equilibrium back in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind this pull. Again, they're just going for as many safe places for Natsumi to be. And he honestly wasn't even in a terrible spot. It's just like the shield crash slow plus the enchant plus the stomp meant that even though he was only barely outside of tower range, it was enough to take him down.
Still 1-for-1 super early, but like we were saying, I feel like in the level 6s once they start to fly out. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen a kill down bot. I guess a Bane and Mars, though, is not easy to get kills. Mars can always just speed push you away. Bane's got the Nightmare, so just at least getting some retaliation whenever the Terrorblade uses metamorphoses.
I mean, they got the first blood, you know, you never know. Bang, he might be scouted out a little bit here by CML as he looks to get the sentry off, and this will be a kill converted by Mac coming through.
Where are you going?
Nice initial rotation. They're even starting to ping out. They think it's up on the high ground, so again, one of these unorthodox wards. Top side looked like there was a little bit of damage, but able to TP back was Boomy.
Feels like I want to see Conker try and get some mana back up, which he does have 3 bottles, and I think Mac has to play for like a TP reaction move to top, because you really need to continue to protect the Drow Ranger as much as possible, and I think that's the lane that Radiant going to put a lot more emphasis on. Bottom lane, Nico, first use of the arena and a kill onto CTM, so that's a big one to find. Back-to-back kills here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, Abeng obviously realizing that he was dead. As soon as they saw him show mid with refilling the bottle for Yopaj, they made the play bot. You know, they know that this is only a one situation. Also, Yopaj had quite low mana at the time because he had to have his bottle refilled. So they were feeling very confident in being able to take that. I feel like if FBZ is level 6, they probably don't go for that. So really good recognition of some of the key weaknesses with the timings right now for Boom. It's actually a solo smoke coming out from Yopaj towards this top side of the map. They want to get the return kill in onto Natsumi, although he's just hit onto his level 6. He's got the 1 point in the marksmanship. Let's see who gets caught out here.
So this is where I want this Conquered TP. But unfortunately for Natsumi, it's going to run straight to Tims and Yopaj. The double step. Great smoke maneuver as they might look to try and put some pressure on the tower. Yopaj and Tims trying to shove that out as fast as possible. They lost their catapult wave, unfortunately. His bottom lane, Mac and CML off the mark here with the boat combination. They should still be able to get a kill on a Bang nonetheless. But it does give some space to Terrorblade. I mean, they're up in his face, kind of slowing down that farming speed. But I think even though they don't get the kill, Mac will take the stack.
Yeah, the real question for me is, are they going to be able to kill him another time with this good Observer Ward? Like I was talking about before, the Ward game, so important just to be able to provide that extra little bit of information that's unexpected. Have these wards in unorthodox areas. There's Yopaj. He's looking to try and connect through, but again, they'll spot it out with this Observer Ward here. So you can get back in time here on Nico, farm a little bit safer, maybe move back towards the triangle, have this this double stack that CML might be looking to take up. Hell, he might even just put his body in the way to enable Natsumi to be able to take some of these stacks. See, it puts him in a bit of a rough spot though, right? Like Nico's running around like, what do I do? Where do I go? I can't farm my jungle, I can't farm my ancients, top's being pushed in. So it's a lot of good pressure coming through from Boom right now.
CML. Oh, can they be perfect
here
with
one.
the chain lockdown? They don't have the boat. The silence from Natsumi should just be enough to get a big kill on Yopaj as they surround him in the river. Now Natsumi can freely farm. The triangle will give CML an opportunity to try and protect him with some vision.
FBZ even using the Rolling Thunder on the top side to try and push one of these waves out a little bit quicker. So that and also escape from booming. But I mean, that is a little bit of a key timing that you should be aware of, right? Like I was talking about before, they need to focus more around FBZ prior to Yopaj picking up some of these key items. You know, you can see he's going for the Yule Scepter first, but Yule's Ags is where the game switches, where you can play a lot more around Yopaj.
Not Nico. Another use of the arena down bot. This time it's not going to net the kill. A rotation from Yopaj will push him back slightly. He's already burnt out a lot of the abilities, so they're just going to turn on the line. And now Yopaj will get no rebuttal out of it. So still we see some issues with taking towers early. Another thing I want to mention is that the double supports they have, and I mean also I guess the Mars for that factor, really struggle at pushing out these creep lanes at the early mark. We saw Boom get the first tier 1 tower of the game, and I feel like they're going to hold a lot more of the map control for maybe like the first 15-16 minutes.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, Mars is alright at it, right? But it's just so expensive for a strength hero with, you know, not so great int gain. So the Soul Ring, obviously effective for being able to push that out, but you want that for any kind of team fight that might look to occur. I mean, Natsumi, he's in a pretty risky position here, just in the mid lane. This is kind of around where Boom want to be playing, but They're looking to try and get a counter maneuver happening, maybe using Natsumi as a little bit of bait here.
I like this.
The fresh Fiend's grip as well.
See if they can get the
positioning via
start.
Bang.
Once again, the silencer Bang needs to be perfect here to cancel out the ultimate, and that's just in the nick of time. Yopaj out to safety. One more astral step charge if need be, and Max gonna try and look for the Tidebringer. But a great use of that to simulate. Now with the rest of Radiant trying to swing on over. Max goddamn tanky on the Conquer. I don't know if you're gonna be able to go through him. At least they do keep the Void Spirit alive. Even Clockwork Look can come over to the mid lane. He does have the hook shot, ready to rock and roll. Gonna try and jump on forward, but the zap from downtown. Deals with the Bane, but FBZ still is gonna be caught out of the river as Boomy finds the target. Yopaj is back in after the initiation. Gonna try and provide some damage here to follow up on Boomy, but Yopaj is gonna be cautious. Dire still holding a little bit of kill threat.
Again, this is one of those games where until Yopaj has 2 items, you're not going to be able to play around the Void Spirit. You know, it completely needs to be FBZ that you're making these plays around. And, you know, he used the Rolling Thunder, he swashbuckled and shield crashed in. So the fact that he was caught inside the cogs just meant that he was a dead man walking in that mid lane.
Oh, while that was going on, bottom lane, Nico claims a very early tower and about to be a very early Blink Dagger as well. So it's highlighting that, you know, the Bane could be the person to kind of deal with the Rolling Thunder through the fights. And I feel like Mars has to kind of provide some initiation to Yopaj before he's anticipating this early blink. And Yopaj, you know, doesn't even have a Yule Scepter as well. So that plus the simulate can give you enough time to react versus some of Polaris's stuns. But, you know, Yopaj is still a decent amount away from it.
They're going for another smoke rotation here. Abeng's going to be in a good position to be able to try and block it. Actually, it seems like they're happy enough just to get the kill onto the Lion. A little bit surprising considering Terrorblade was farming so close nearby and you had complete vision of him. I thought they might have tried to go for the long way around and try and wrap around to the other side.
Yeah, we've seen how CTM's been farming across the map.
Although,
very solid.
They've still got the Fiend script though on the Bane. Maybe they could still maybe try and think about it, especially with that fresh Blink Dagger.
It looks like with how they've set up their wards, they are trying to set up for the Bane up top. Like, quite often, I think that that's a lane where you don't want to be putting a lot of your attention on. Like, maybe setting... We saw mid previously where they were trying to smoke behind the Drow, get a kill, lead it into a tower. Quite often, that's just the very simple to-do list. You take the enemy safe lane tower, then to their mid. But this gives me some, you know, at least telltale signs that they're looking to really make some aggressive maneuvers and really put pressure on CTM.
What is the smoke situation looking like right now for Polaris as well? They've already used 2. I think they've got 1 available to buy in the secret shop. So I think you just got to continuously make plays, especially now that Kunkka's got his Orchid, right? Like both the Void Spirit or the
Boomy
Mango would be great
actually going to
targets.
bait in the river. They get the jump. Ultimate after as well from CML. Where's the damage fall? The volley's coming through from afar as Polaris spring the trap in the river. Even though Boom had all the vision they needed thanks to that Observe Ward, it's going to cost him 3 quick deaths as Nico will claim the last.
Doing very well. I mean, this is some uncharacteristic positioning coming through from Yopaj here to be caught out so many times. You know, how many times can you say he would be sitting at the very bottom of the core net worths at the 14.5-minute mark of the game?
Yeah, we just saw a couple of those rotations not work out in his favor, and who knows how important that could have been for him to have a Game 1 performance here. They do keep the tower alive. I wonder if Dire... what they look to do. Yeah.
Like, you could just probably wait for the boat and then just look to go again, right? You've still got... maybe even the arena, actually. You've still got the hook shot in another 10 seconds. You could just go back, farm a little bit here. Natsumi, he's playing around the stacks, wanting to make sure that he's able to get a little bit closer to that next item as he is with the Yasha.
I'll jump Booming. I'll catch him out. Now, for everyone that just saw, poor old EpiZ did actually buy the recipe, even though he already had the mechanism completed. So a waste of 900 gold. He's going to get a little bit of back, but even the pros make some of those item mistakes. Push back, Tims. My god, he's so tanky though. Max already got an Orchid too. This actually might catch Boom off guard. Even CTM wants to look to get involved. They've got the arena if they want to use it more defensively, just to signal the retreat. But Radiant overwhelm them underneath the tier 1 tower. Unfortunately, they're going to have to battle it up against the glyph.
And that's the first
So gotta
fight
be cautious because Nico's gonna jump. They find the spear, follow-up chain control is gonna be perfect. CTM will fall, and they'll just clean up the rest as well as Polaris The blink initiation, too much for them to handle. They're kind of splitting up their heroes at the moment. Some chasing for a bang, the others for Yopaj, but it looks like they'll catch up the line for his 7th death. This is only 16 minutes in.
It's a lot of deaths, and I think 2 of them were kind of warranted, where he was, you know, putting himself in the way, wanting to make sure to block any kind of smoke attempts, which are fine. But yeah, it just doesn't feel like this roaming trio, in my mind. It's probably even a quad with the Enchantress coming through, are able to do enough. Like, that was TB's first rotation towards the mid lane, and, well, ends up dying with that Metamorphosis still with half duration there. So it's going to impact on his ability to continue to farm, continue to try and at least be that single core that's carrying Boom here, but having a bit of a rough one. I'm really not a fan of FPZ go on the Guardian Greaves, to be honest. Like, I feel like it's way too passive. You know, nothing is really stopped the Bane from doing whatever he wants, and from Drow doing whatever she wants.
Top lane, CTM.
And
They've been able to catch him out. They're trying to swing on over, but it's not going to matter. Tims can't get in range. That is a big, big kill to find.
Yopaj. They got Enchantress. Oh,
they canceled.
They interrupted Yopaj.
Okay, well, being more of a nuisance, Rocket Flare just shy.
They're looking for him.
Come on, Nico, just drop the arena.
And the thing is, Yopaj has no idea this is all that's happening as well. He's just chilling.
Oh, don't go into the flare.
I think it's fine, even if he does. Mars is gone.
There's a lot of time wasted, though, and for someone who's that far behind on Void, it's going to really cost them here. They need as much as they can get. Look at Tim's up top. He's just running rings around the creeps right now, just waiting for CTM to come back up. What a good support.
I mean, this is what it is, right? Like, Terrorblade needs to have a good game. Like, he didn't turn up to those few couple of fights where Boom normally just rely on their ability to outplay their opponents with winning these first few key engagements. Didn't happen. You know, Polaris were playing a lot more around each other. Drow Ranger constantly there. Yopaj, is he going to get caught out? I mean, it's only going to be a pos 5, pos 4 clockwork.
Rolling Thunder's so awkward to use in Cogs. Max going to try and come out to provide some assistance, but that won't be fast enough. Back on your the Guardian Greaves point, I wonder if there's a lot of emphasis on just going for your team fight aura armor to help deal with the little bit of the Drow marksmanship. And also, I think Boom really felt like they would be the ones taking a lot more towers early and, you know, grouping up with Metamorphosis. But the fact that Yopaj is this far behind and also CTM is really struggling is probably preventing them from playing the type of Dota that they were hoping to with this draft and the items they've gone for.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the armor component. It's obviously providing a whole lot more armor, especially if you're low HP, as another kill gets picked up here for Polaris. But I don't know. I think the Blink Dagger is such good value this game that if that 1500 gold was put towards it, he would have it right now. And at least you've still got the mechanism to be able to provide that burst heal in a team fight.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, maybe Boomy? You know, maybe it was hoping Yopaj, if he has a better start, then he can play a lot more of the backline, you know, initiation role just to prevent chaos on the Drow Ranger. Once again, they're going to catch out a bang. I mean, we saw the priority with this clockwork just against the line to really make sure there's an absolutely zero game, and that's showing so far. I mean, he's 1-8-2. It's going to take him quite some time to pick up the blink.
And the other argument for the Guardian Greaves as well is that you've already got the Orchid completed by Mac, who's making a lot of plays happen with it. He's very close to picking up his BKB, by the way, level 16 on this Kunkka versus Yopaj's level 13. And they'll definitely get it after being able to pick up this tower, actually prior to it. That, plus the Drow Gust as well, might just enable FPZ to play a little bit more aggressively on the front lines. But, I mean, for mine, it feels like a lot of these Rolling Thunders are wasted. Like, you take this away, you cannot fight. You know, every single time they're just going to group up and push
you
forward.
can't die after you use that. Boom's got a hook in 10. And they saw he's used everything defensively, Nick. It's not going to latch on the spear, but nonetheless, we'll trap him in. And you're exactly right. Like, all these Rolling Thunders have been super defensively to try and push out some of the creeps. But if it's going to cost you your life at the same time, that cannot be worth it.
No, and even just things like, I'm just going to get on the point of the Blink Dagger again, right? It enables you in team fights, but even just in that situation where you're trying to push out a lane to make sure you don't lose your towers super early on, you know, you might be able to swashbuckle, shield crash, blink away, right? So you're not actually putting yourself in harm's way, and you're accomplishing that split push, and you're still good in team fights. And, well, with that Rolling Thunder still being on cooldown and FBZ being dead for the next 10 seconds, this is a free Roche.
Yeah,
So
this is worrying because Dire are going to hit a very fast timing of triple BKB. I mean, Natsumi's got one component, Mac has his completed, Nico's effectively got 2 components, and Radiant are very reliant on their magical damage. Like, yes, TB, he's one of the few cores early on that can provide a lot of physical, but everyone else, I mean, the Void Spirit hasn't had a good game, so it's going to be a lot coming down to their spell damage, and that's a bit worrying. These next couple of fights could cost them. I mean,
so I think the key timing right now for Boom, I mean, they're making the smoke and they're going towards CTM. He needs to make sure he buys this Manta style ASAP, but might even get baited in here by the call of the secret shop. I feel like this is the one way to counter Polaris. What they want to do right now is just have that Manta style, have those illusions pushing out multiple lanes, and force Polaris to try and, or to have to split up to be able to protect their towers and defend their net worth lead that they've got so far. Good game sense coming through from CTM, making sure he moves away from where the common movements are going to be, right? It's always about, like, when you take the towers, it's not just oh, we can farm a little bit more. It's that the enemy team can't farm quite as safely where they want to. And so when you're in the mindset of that enemy team, you have to think, right, well, where can I be killed now, basically? And CTM had a very good understanding that when people are showing off the map, they probably want to kill him in his triangles. So he made sure to avoid that, go back to the jungle, which obviously doesn't provide quite as much of the gold and the net worth that you're able to pick up. But, you know, if it means saving your life, you'll take that every time.
Without a doubt. We got a 4,000 net worth lead here. Make it 5 now for Polaris. Smoke's gonna run straight to Tim's. Yopaj hiding the wings as well. He's trying to find the angle in, but CML is really the ideal target. But with how Dire are playing around the Bane and making sure he's protected at all stages, it will not give the Void Spirit an opportunity to get a quick and easy pick off. So just back to shoving up the side lanes. They're actually gonna jump Nico. He's got a bang nearby. This burst with a finger of death, but Boomy once again finds his target. Still, Bang's able to use the spells perfectly to bring down the Mars, but now they have to retreat. Back, he'll get the clip on the line. Everyone else is able to make it away at the moment at BZ.
He'll be fine.
Will he? No, he won't. CML, great TP location. Fiend's grip from the fog, so a 2-for-1. I mean, you really do take that, I think, if you're raiding. You're wasting a little bit of the Aegis. CTM now has BKB completed.
I suppose, and also, you know, it gives you at least another finger of death charge. It's really important, especially once these BKBs are online, for someone like the Lion, who's able to get a lot of his, you know, kit out before the spell immunity is popped, and that's just going to be assisted by that Blink Dagger that he's only 400 gold away from. So, you know, when level 12 Blink Dagger on a Bang, I feel like Radiant are going to be in a much stronger position.
Yeah, and he...
We're actually looking to move to the other side of the map to try and farm.
Bang also got the killing streak as well on the Mars. It was only 6 times, but you'll take 541 gold any day of the week for a position 5 Lion who is still hunting for this Blink. So maybe, honestly, that could be a big reason why it comes out in the next couple of minutes, say, 6-7 minutes down the line.
So that was a little bit of a desperate fortification. You know, it only cleared out a couple of creeps. It slowed down the push a tiny bit, but Polaris, they're still going to be able to claim this bottom tier 2 tower before the 24-minute mark. Won't get the outpost in time, but now I believe that's a BKB. Oh, so he already had the BKB, but it's going to be level 18 now for Natsumi as well. So a lot more damage that he's able to output. You are getting very close to some key timings on Boom, though. You've got the Blink Dagger, only 200 gold away for FBZ. Unfortunately for a Bang, he's going to die again, so just delay his
They're
own
still sticking
Blink Dagger
around. Boomy doesn't have enough mana for the Cogs pushback. That extra control would have been so important to lock in Yopaj, but I mean, again, it's just a reactionary game from Boom. Just trying to get out of dodge every single time. Oh, they caught him! Nico! A perfect speed, just getting a little bit of that lost vision from the step. And I mean, you're happy with losing the Lion, but Yopaj can't be dying like this.
He can't, but he also does need to be taking a lot of attention away from the objectives that you actually don't want to lose, right? You don't want to give them the opportunity with that minute and a half that the Aegis had left on it to be trying to push any kind of high ground. You know, they lost the tier 2 tower. It's unfortunate, but you can't be losing a much bigger objective than that. I'd say around 26, 27 minutes, though, is when Boom really wants to go. You know, you should see a bang, not something that you see a Lion do. Maybe in your pubs you will, just sitting in the jungle, farming up a few of these camps, but him having Blink Dagger, so important. Yopaj as well, only 500 gold away from his Aghanim Scepter. FBZ, he's been able to...
They're still swinging over. Polaris, feel like they're powerful at the moment with this Aegis advantage. Gonna keep trying to utilize this. The detection a little bit lacking. Tims and gets the save to the T2 tower, but as long as they just lose Tims, I feel like they're okay with that once again.
They are. You've also got... oh, have to be careful here. You see the difference, right, with FBZ on the bottom side of the map. Push the wave out, blink away. It provides you with so much more safety relative to just having the Guardian Greaves around. And now he's also been able to pick up that Aghanim Shard as well. So really nice to just be able to have an even more teamfight control. And even if Drow's trying to hit you, you could look to roll up and, you know, try and prevent your death in that way.
It would be ideal for Boom if they could have the Aghanims completed by Yopaj before they look for this smoke attempt. Because like you said, everyone's finding the items. CTM's super close to Manta as well, but I don't know if they'll wait for that.
No,
oh, they caught FBZ, so he was still sticking around. I thought he got out of dodge, but again, another pickoff. I mean, 7 to 26 as the kill counter, and CML as well is setting up top on CTM. I think he just got vision of the Terrorblade.
Have to be careful. No one's there to really connect through with him just yet, just sitting inside of his Shadow Amulet, not griefing his team. He's doing the right thing to catch out anyone that might be diving a little bit too deep.
Oh, again, Boom at a start. A bang's gonna fall with the Hex. CTM nearby by the choke point. They'll at least get the run buff, but the finger dropped and all the Metamorphosis damage. Enough to at least get some consolation across the map. The Leeson 4s and Nico BKB. I'd love to see Radiant Smoke. I want more out of this meta, and yeah, they're gonna do just that. Looking ahead to top. Beautiful move. This lane shoved out. You're going to anticipate someone on Dire to try and push this out. And they're going to be correct with Matt coming over.
It will, and even just not having the Arena of Blood as well for another 30 seconds. FBZ is going to be able to get up there, maybe not connect quite as quickly as you might like, as Mac actually does show in the lane.
He just picked up the AC, he's got the BKB as well. The chain lockdown has to be a perfect from a bang, and it is. Another big kill from Boom. Great utilization out of the Metamorphosis. I love that smoke. They were playing very reactionary throughout a lot of this stage in the game, and now finally a proactive move from them.
Yeah, and you can just see just how quickly it comes off the back of just one kill, you know, where, you know, they're farming a little bit and they had hit their timings, right? You probably aren't able to do that if you don't have the Blink Dagger on up end. You're not able to get that initial lockdown coming through.
No, they're still sticking nearby on Polaris. I know Metamorphosis is on cooldown. I still feel goddamn strong. A 4-on-5. Let's see if they can take it to perfection as they find the speed connect. Fiends coming from far. FBZ, his role needs to be able to deal with the Bane, but it looks like Yopaj has it cancelled. Now CTM, Sunder, BKB out there, locking on top of Natsumi, but a 4-staff down to the low ground. Meanwhile, Yopaj, a speed, finds a connection. That's enough damage to bring down the Void Spirit. They're still overwhelming them by the high ground here. On top of Natsumi, but down by the bottom side, Nico, Boomy, straight on top of the Terrorblade as well. No protection for CTM as the rest of Radiant putting a lot of emphasis on trying to deal with Natsumi's draw range, in which they will be successful, but the consequence is so grave. 3 gone. FBZ should just make it away. Nico's still hunting. I've got Hook up in 8. See if they guess the right direction.
Well,
Who's going to see him on the Kree wave? Yeah, FBZ. Like up surely. A Boomy. Oh, he's got. Oh, do it blind. Nico. Oh, that's a blind blink. Straight into him. That hooks off the mark, unfortunately. Oh, okay, they find him. What's going on?
Oh, just my God. So close to being able to pick him off, and yeah, he'll eventually get away. Oh man, this is so close, and honestly, we're seeing a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes coming from Boom. Nico's still thinking he's in the trees, but you know, there was in that team fight a bang. You wanted to get the initial pick off onto Boomy to make sure you had a little bit more safety on your backlines. He ended up blinking next to the cogs that Boomy pushed down there, and with all the mana burn coming through, didn't have the mana to actually get a hex or a stun off, so he had to sit there mana draining for a little bit. That meant that Mars was able to get in place and get a really nice initiation onto the Terrorblade. CTM had no one to sunder, so he had to use it on Yopaj, ends up getting him killed. So there's a lot of things that could still go better for Boom. But, you know, they
They're
are
still
feeling like
smoked up.
they're in a better
Back
spot.
to target once again. He's so difficult to be able to burst down. They'll drop the finger of death, and with a beautiful chain control from FBZ, they get the perfect initiation. They'll look to transition this to the clockwork. Once again, Boom playing a lot more proactive at the moment. Nico, his BKB was used previously, so he's still in trouble. Natsumi's going to be cautious of his position at Bang, trying to find that angle to jump the Drow. They won't get it, but at least they'll still find the Mars.
You see how much easier these team fights are with Blink Dagger, Ares? Yep. You see how it is? Like, Drow Ranger can't do anything. Natsumi was there on the top side. He was honestly playing it pretty well because Abeng was positioning to try and go for a bit more of a blink forward to try and catch out that Drow before she was able to get back to safety. But it is just that fear factor, right? You cannot just stand there around someone like a Void Spirit who now, you know, he's level 20, basically. He's got the 2 points in the Resonant Pulse as well, 2 charges, excuse me, from the Aghanim Scepter. There's just so much kill threat for this Drow Ranger, and right now, I mean, there's a few ways to save yourself, but you still just do feel so squishy when you can have someone like FBZ or Yopaj not even worry too much about damage. Their main job is to just continuously stand on top of you and take away a huge portion of your damage.
And it's off.
Look at this play as well from Radiant. Just pedal to the metal. They kept the Terrorblade Enchantress, killing off Roche, and 3 heroes smoked to try and catch them off guard. Now, they won't find anyone, unfortunately. So Enchantress has the Aghanim Shard. She does not have Holy Locket. Would you like to see Tims go into it, or are you happy with the Lotus Orb? Hold that thought, Dire. Smoke up. They don't have Nico at the moment. He's going to look to try and connect with the rest of Polaris. They're backing off as a team. They still have the vision on CTM, but Tim's standing hand in hand. Glimmer's out at least fast enough. They're going to try and blow up the first life, which they will do so successfully. Now, Dive, got to be cautious. Natsumi has to be protected. He's in the river right now, but the follow-up jump's not there. Beautiful cogs will push back the Rolling Thunder, so Natsumi is just freely right-clicking from the low ground, but still, CTM, he's the big target. At BKB, Sunder out early. Matt continuing to push him further and further back, but now once the magic immunity expires, they'll get the control to drag him back. Still, Yopaj is providing the roll, jumping on Natsumi, try to get him rid of the marksmanship, but it's still going to cost the life of the Terrorblade. They also find the backline. A 3 for 3 nonetheless. It felt like there could have been much worse.
Especially with no BKBs remaining now on Natsumi, but he's going to be able to back off in time. I still don't feel like they're putting enough emphasis onto just standing on top of Natsumi. I know you said they were attempting it in that fight, but good use of the Hurricane Pike. Natsumi's positioning has been really good so far this game, just making sure to constantly avoid the rest of the team. I think FBZ, while it's great to be able to take out a Clockwork to get that extra kill and protect your team a little bit, I feel like the way to protect your team even better is to just disable this Drow Ranger as much as possible, right? Not even just stuns, just purely on the back of damage. I'm going to keep harping on it because that's the only reason Terrorblade died, is that there were a few marksmanship procs that luckily came out and were able to take him out as he was retreating back into the fog.
Honestly, I think the cogs from...
It was good.
Yeah, I believe wins him that fight. If he doesn't,
it was the overclock as well. So,
oh,
like,
does he got it now?
Double cogs,
okay.
Yeah.
That legitimately just stopped the projection that the Pango had to get into that fight. Like, he was beelining to the Drow. He was going to try and blink over, get to the river, and that would have been a disaster of a position. I mean, you're on a low ground, but there's 2 walls right next to you. You would have just had no room to right click at all. But this is something I brought up previously, that I think Dire have ways to protect the Clockwork, Conga, Mars, on how you use your abilities effectively, and maybe even a Nightmare, or how Bane can itemize defensively to keep Natsumi alive. But we've got a pretty goddamn even ball game. I mean, we're just seeing Polaris come out ahead in the net worth.
And the win probability, it's swinging a little bit back more in Boom's favor. Still Polaris favored, but it's not looking as dire as it used to be. Just a 41% win rate now for Boom. But yeah, it does seem like this sort of back and forth game. Natsumi, him reaching his level 25 is going to be very important. Whether he looks to go for the multi-shot waves or the marksmanship chance, I'd probably say marksmanship, just so that you could continue to stand and man fight. With the multi-shot waves, I've talked so much about how positioning is incredibly important in a lot of these games. And, well, unfortunately for him, it's not like the Mortimer's Kisses where, you know, the ability comes out a little bit faster. You still need to stay in position for longer to actually cast those extra waves, which I don't feel like he's got the luxury to do. He's very close to picking up that butterfly, though, which is going to help him a lot.
Is there anything we can see from Polaris to enable the Drow anymore? Like maybe could you theorize a Conquer going into the Aghanim Scepter just for more chaos and to make it more difficult for them to jump? Could you think about, some force stuff, something defensive from the supports on Polaris?
I can't fault too much about how the Polaris supports have been playing so far, right? Particularly Boomy. I think he's been doing a fantastic job at making sure that it's very hard to get in onto the backlines. Excuse me, and even just Bane constantly being that presence there with the Fiend's Grip. If you get a great target like the Terrorblade or the Void Spirit, you're going to take it. But he's always there, constantly threatening FBZ and standing not next to the Drow Ranger as well. He's standing close by, but not next to Drow, so that you're not able to lock down both Drow Ranger and the Bane. You kind of have to choose one or the other. So it's been really good there. In terms of items, I feel like Kunkka probably still needs to go a little bit more damage. He needs to be standing on the front line, not allowing you to just completely ignore him and go for the Drow. But I like what we've got queued up here by Nico. He's going into that Refresher Orb. I like it. It provides you with that extra layer of control. Also, just having the double arena against someone like the Terrorblade, who's still dishing out so much of the damage, once those BKBs wear off, is going to be amazing. Just to be able to just purely block out the damage he's doing because you're a ranged hero trying to hit into those walls.
Dire's middle tower.
Radiant have been using a lot of their smokes for these past couple of minutes.
Got to be careful with this courier, though. FPZ not wanting to go too far forward. Picks up the Lincolns, so it gives him that little bit of extra safety. Now, if he looks to roll onto the backline, he doesn't worry about the Bane quite so much, being able to catch him out with the Fiend's Grip. They've got nothing else that's a targeted BKB disable.
Gotcha.
Finally, they'll get that ward. So Radiant pretty blind across the map now. Is this a fresh ward down bottom? Yes, it is. Okay, it's a fresh lane ward. But apart from that, I feel like you don't really have to worry about Roshan for quite some time. Where would you like to see Boom trying to play around their vision?
I feel like it's past the point where, Natsumi can just sit in his triangle and farm. So this bottom tower doesn't really have all that much value. I feel like it's just playing around the top side, right? Like, right now, Polaris, they've got the superior vision as... Oh, I thought I heard a full Rolling Thunder get charged up there by FBZ. I was a little worried. But, yeah, I think they just need to play around this top side, right? Secure that, take the outpost away so that with any buybacks that might come through, they can't instantly rejoin the team fight. And speaking of which, let's have a look at what the status is. Looks like it's Kunkka and Mars for Polaris, and just Yopaj on Boom's side. Looking pretty close on a couple of the supports as well, though, so that's going to be a key component about how they're able to take these next few engagements. FBZ, he's been revealed by the ward up here, same with Tim's, and he just wants to basically be that tanky frontliner. No points in the impetus so far, even just going the points into the stats. Wanting to position himself on the front lines, make them want to go on top of him.
Well, let's see if they get their wishes. FBZ is actually going to drop a lot of his abilities at the moment, but...
Yeah. You don't really want to do it on the Pangolier, but you kind of feel like he needs to go into...
Great position from Yopaj. FBZ's going to jump.
Nope,
The rest of the team is a
down.
bit far away. FBZ's stuck in a corner too. Still, they get the target. Bane instantly going to look to buy back. Now they're on top of Natsumi as well. An early BKB. Where's CTM? Nowhere to see him at the moment. He's trying to lock onto Boomy, but they haven't been able to find a big kill on the Drow. This is still
kind of
posturing
BKBs
very
though.
far away. Nico trying to get back up to the higher ground. He's got the arena BKB if he wants to use it defensively. Another round as they jump. Natsumi with the BKB on cooldown and bang FBZ and Yopaj. The trio trying to jump Natsumi. They'll do so successfully. The ideal target for Boom to get rid of. They'll even catch out CML. Nico the TP out just the nick of time. You were saying though, these BKBs got kited. Radiant knew it instantly and they penalized.
Do indeed. They continue to push forward as well. There was the value of the Lincoln Sphere as well. It was really good attempt there by the Bane to try and catch out FBZ, make sure they can burst him down before the team fight even began. But Fiend's Grip going on cooldown, useless for 120 seconds. There was even the buyback expended on the Bane, so they know that this is at minimum a 3v5 fight, at least a 4v5.
Come get here. Dire's structures are fortified.
FBZ even going to try and make as much space as possible.
Yeah.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Have they got overclocking?
They do, but they don't have the damage. That's
Yeah.
the big issue. It's only Drow that can do damage to FBZ, and he was trying to throughout all of that Rolling Thunder, but it just wasn't enough now with the farm that they've been able to pick up.
Now Boomy is It's gonna at least get some assistance from Mac, but simultaneously it bangs in. Tries to find the opening. Conker with that run buff, so goddamn difficult to kill. The Polaris just looking to try and bring the attention away from the objectives. Unfortunately, they will not do so successfully, as a full set of barracks claimed.
Now, I don't want to say I told you so about what would happen to this Drow, but it does feel like, again, I want these sort of strategies to work. I want to see Drow things come back into the meta, but again, like, picking it into two heroes that can gap close just feels very weird to me, especially now as we're getting this stage of the game where the BKBs are down at 6 seconds, and, you know, what can you really do? It's such little time to be able to output your damage, and outside of the Drow getting incredibly lucky with some marksmanship procs, same sort of thing with the Kunkka. He's actually gone away from the Daedalus, but being able to, you know, get some good right clicks through with the Tidebringer onto a very key target, you're not going to win these team fights in my eyes.
Regeneration.
What do we have to see from Polaris then to take these fights? Because I really think like them kiting Rolling Thunder is ideal, but is it they need to play more around vision?
I think they need to eliminate Rolling Thunder. Rolling Thunder cannot be a thing. They need to catch FBZ before he's even able to get it off. And now with the Lincolns plus the Guardian Greaves, it's going to be so hard to do that. So again, it sucks as this Bane, but you're going to need to, you know, make some huge plays happen on CML. You've got good range with the Enfeeble to be able to break the Lincolns. So they might need to just look to shift queue it up so that they just go back to back, one after the other, break the Lincoln's Fiend's Grip, burst him down, hope he doesn't have buyback.
Like, I'm just trying to play back that last team fight scenario, and like we saw FBZ use a very early Rolling Thunder to, you know, really nothing, no benefit of them. I think CTM also wasted BKB, and Diet had the higher ground, but I don't think they were playing around their vision. I love this recognition now. A gem has been picked up. Trying to find who has it. Yeah, Max got it. So I think you just need as much vision as possible around a choke point just to enable the positioning on Natsumi. Because ideally, like you're saying, deal with the Rolling Thunder. Take the Pango out at the start of the fight. Last fight, they didn't have Rolling Thunder. Like, it was wasted through the initial jump. They got no kills out of it. That feels like the most ideal scenario, but they still lost it somehow. So I think now with the gem and playing around their vision, I think that's something that can really help them out.
I think so as well.
For the effort.
I mean, they're just giving Boom more and more time to continuously farm, though. I mean, have a look at what the gold graph has done in the past 10 or so minutes. It's just skyrocketed in Boom's favor, and Terrorblade, not the type of hero that you want to give that sort of capability to. Again, Bane, terrible at dealing with any kind of illusions. Clockwork, not great as well. As we get to the 40+ minute mark of the game, Clockwork does fall off a fair amount. That's nothing to say about Boomy. Again, I think Boomy's been playing a very good game, but it's just the heroes just don't have the same kind of toolkit as the likes of a Lion, you know? All that burst damage, especially now that you're level 18 as well on a Bang, they catch out anyone, and, you know, they're dead. There's absolutely nothing that you can do about it with those 5 Finger of Death charges, plus the base damage coming through. That's what, come on, quick mass, 1100 damage coming through from a Lion. It's crazy.
Nico, playing by their Observer Ward, the rest of the team have avoided the area, so unfortunately this Observer Ward will be sacrificed. They will at least get some information on where Boom are posturing across the map. Let's see if Dire do their counter smoke, or they're just going to continue to haul up at the moment.
Illusion.
Might even just look to wait for the level 25 on Mac here. Not sure what he would want to do if he wants the ghost ship fleet just to be able to stop some of the damage that the Terrorblade illusions might be doing, or if he's going to go for the... Well, do you? Because I feel like, again, it's so important about just being able to play around that short BKB timing that you've got for yourself, that having Tidebringer just be able to dish out more damage in these team fights super early might be the way they opt to go with it.
Well, he's already gone for it, so we'll have the extra fleet. We'll see how that's going to come handy for Mac, who's pretty close as well to the Hex. And he's got the most gold in the game at the moment, so making sure he's got the buyback available. Everyone else is sitting pretty comfortable with buyback. Terrorblade's just got enough gold. Lion and Bane, the only one in the game without this available. Next Roche, really going to tell the story of this game. If Boom get it, could just be the way to close this out for Polaris. So they're looking for a window back in. Roche, that is that window.
Sure, they're looking to scout it out with both teams. Clockwork obviously with the rocket flare. Got a range creep sitting inside there. for Enchantress. Luckily enough, Boom, they're going to be the ones with the first piece of information, but instantly Polaris have the same as well. I mean, if Boomy was able to hit up onto level 20, he would love that just for the Rocket Flare True Sight. Maybe just that little bit of extra oomph that they need to be able to take out this Terrorblade who's got the Trickster Cloak.
Scouts them all out running through that mid lane. Dai cannot run to a position where Radiant have already fortified a higher ground with wards, sentries, and their positioning. That's not a spot you want to fight. You have to make a long wraparound if you're going to take that.
They need the full wraparound. Yeah, where they're basically drawing on the map right now. That's what CML is saying. He was saying, I want to go down. I want to go south. I want to try and get in onto the backlines where they don't have vision. He's going to reveal himself.
Okay, Boomy sort of start. Roche was falling at the moment. They get the catch. If they can deal with the Rolling Thunder, that's perfect. Natsumi still with the BKB. They're going to push Yopaj away, but an instant buyback. Now, Boomy, they've got the recognition that Boom aren't fighting with their full roster, but they're looking to retreat. They're busy! He's in with the Rolling Thunder. Gets Natsumi, gets Nico. Bye-bye, Drow. Bye-bye, Mars as well. What a buyback from FBZ.
They realize how important this Roche is. Instant Rocket Flare coming out to scout it. But again, this is one of the advantages of taking away that outpost. You can't quickly rejoin it. And I feel like Boom have the damage to be able to take this out before they're going to be able to do anything about it. Tims, he's gone for the hookshot block. Oh, bang, even just moving forward.
Oh, Aegis picked up. Nico's going to try and protect him. Polaris are coming over. Can you stick around? I mean, Natsumi just bought back. Get some extra positioning. Keep in mind, Radiant, they did use a lot of their abilities previously to jump Natsumi, so he's still playing on the outskirts, but FBZ's got the Rolling Thunder up, but once again, they're going to push the Drow Ranger away, which is all of their damage. It allows CTM just to rip apart the Conquer. Natsumi can hope and pray that the damage on the Drow is enough, but they're on top of the core. Natsumi's going to be a goner, a dieback for the Drow, 4 down, make it 5, make it Mat 1 victory for Boom.
Existence.
Oh, the comebacks are real. You know, we were thinking maybe when it was, what was it, like 6 to 19 kill score, 7k net worth lead fairly early on, but just those timings. Every single item timing came off for Boom. You know, the first Blink Daggers coming through, the Aghanim Scepters, and then the Lincoln Sphere as well from FBZ, just completely turning the tide, enabling them to pick off who was the most important hero at each stage of the game. It felt like it changed, you know, their target prioritization. When they were having a rougher time at the very start, as soon as they picked up the Blink Dagger, particularly on a bang, they were just like, Max gotta die. He's way too tanky. We've got the potential to burst him through, and they did twice. It allowed them to get much more of that map control back for themselves, take away Roche, and just put themselves in a really good position to be able to take this game. So, I mean, I don't want to flex on this, Lucky, but I feel like I called it. I feel like it was, again, in a vacuum. Drow, TB, I completely agree. Drow, better. But you had FBZ and you had Yopaj, and eventually they got to the point where they had those items that would enable them to actually do that, you know? Lincoln Sphere, great itemization from FBZ. Blink Dagger, of course, very standard. And Yopaj, I mean, how many times do you see a Void Spirit go into a BKB to actually enable themselves to go in onto the backline? That was how much they realized that as much as damage is important for their own game, it's just about enabling CTM to have his game that's going to push you over the top.
I mean, we saw the kind of 2 stories in that game. It was really Polaris for 15 minutes, and then Boom, like 3 smokes in a row. As soon as they got those items, we were harping like they need to wait for these items, make the plays, and then get aggressive. And the way they were able to do that was just slowly pushing out the map, giving up a couple kills, but they were necessary kills. CTM was farming, everyone else was getting a little bit of gold to get those items, and it was just so important. I think this also is something we brought up earlier in that game, was the issue that Polaris would have. They don't have the greatest lane shove. You got 2 supports that can't kill creeps. I think that's a big issue, especially when you're going against a Terrorblade, against an Enchantress. It gave so much space for Boom just to delay that first Aegis, find those items. They took some incredible fights with that, and then the recognition on who to jump. Like the prioritization, getting on top of Natsumi and killing anyone else that was super, super key to their lineup was just spectacular from Boom.
I think that even that last team fight could have gone very differently. Not the very last one, the one before the buybacks to the south side of the Roche pit. if CML just doesn't die. You know, he got the first kill, he got the initial lockdown needed to be able to get onto FBZ. Second time around, he buys back. Like you mentioned, he hit that great rolling thunder. But FBZ and Yopaj, they saw that the Fiend's Grip wasn't used. They made sure to prioritize a lot of their attention over to him. And I believe one of them even bought a Dust to make sure that they were able to get in onto him. And that's why FBZ actually has the free item slot, I believe, is that they were able to take him out there in the trees with the Shadow Amulets. So if he's able to get that Fiend's Grip off to the Pango, Natsumi doesn't die. Maybe Polaris take that next Roche. Maybe they're able to take Elena Brax as well. So just these micro decisions end up costing them in the end. Good comeback by Boom. And I'm keen to see game 2 because this is much more of the Polaris that I've come to expect over the last few months.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately though, like you're saying, we've come to expect it, but it's another map where they have dropped. I mean, Boom were behind about 15 kills, maybe even a little bit more at some stage in that game, but just the recognition on their timing and the prioritization on the key targets they need to bring down secures them a 43-minute map 1 victory. Was into a break. When we come back, we'll have map 2 underway.